Good evening to all of our participants. Thank you so much for joining us. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar on the Sustainable Energy Marketplace. I am Alberto Bernardini and I work for the finance team here at IRENA, and I've been working on this initiative already for over a year. I will start this webinar by giving you a brief introduction on the webinar and providing you some instructions. I will be followed by Olivieri, who is going to present the concept of the marketplace, and he will be followed by Katrina from USAID Power Africa, explaining how Power Africa plans to contribute to this initiative. Finally, we will have an online demonstration of the Sustainable Energy Marketplace, and we will end this webinar with a Q&A session. For those of you not familiar with IRENA, we are an intergovernmental organization that supports countries in their transition to a sustainable energy future. We promote the widespread adoption and sustainable use of all forms of renewable energy, including bioenergy, geothermal, hydropower, ocean, solar, and wind energy, in the pursuit of sustainable development, energy security, and a stable climate. IRENA serves as a network hub, an advisory resource, and authoritative, unified global voice for renewable energy. IRENA has 147 members and 29 states in the process of becoming members. Power Africa is an initiative launched by the United States in 2013 to double access to electricity in sub-Saharan Africa by 2030. Power Africa brings together technical and legal experts, the private sector, and governments from around the world to work in partnership to increase the number of people with access to power. Their companies, strategic and donor partners, and African governments who have the power to unlock the substantial energy resources in their countries. Power Africa includes the collective resources of the US government, the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the governments of Sweden, Norway, and Canada, the European Union, the United Kingdom, the African Union, the United Nations Sustainable Energy for All, and more than 120 private companies. For listening in. You may connect by computer mic and speakers or by phone by selecting the telephone option in the right-hand panel. If you should face any technical difficulties during the webinar, please contact the GoToWebinar help desk at the number provided on your screen. I would like to encourage everyone to participate in today's session by asking questions. To do so, simply select the questions panel in the right-hand bar and enter your questions with a note of who you would like the question directed to. We will be collecting questions throughout the webinar. If you'd like to watch this webinar again or share it with a friend, we will have a full recording available on the RL website as well as on the IRENA YouTube channel. If we're not able to answer all of your questions during today's session, we will get back to you and send answers to all of you later on. So without further ado, I would like to
Good afternoon, good everyone, wherever you are. My name is Olivieri. I work at the International Renewable Energy Agency as a renewable energy finance expert. As Alberto mentioned, we have developed and implemented this marketplace over the last year and early this year. So we've been in operation for roughly 12 months now, or even a bit more. The marketplace was originally launched at COP21 in Paris, and it covered continents of Africa and also of Latin America. The goal is to initiation develop efforts. So currently the marketplace contains only the process of adding energy efficiency project type in the portal, and that will happen around By supporting initiation, development, and financing of projects, having a broad set of different types of projects in the marketplace, like bankable, ready-to-invest, shovel-ready projects, but also earlier stage projects or even project ideas presented by countries. How the marketplace attempts to support and scale up renewable energy investments in these countries. Firstly, it improves the transparency of the market by offering an efficient search functions, a project financing instrument, which will be described later shortly. Secondly, it offers tools and databases for market players that are helpful in developing and identifying projects. And thirdly, perhaps most importantly, the marketplace attempts to support and facilitate projects. We'll come back to all of these functions and value added. Holders in the marketplace are obviously the project owners and financiers. By registering in this marketplace will gain visibility for their projects, and therefore the marketplace will reduce the information asymmetry and improve the transparency of the market. Also, in addition to making their projects more visible, the project owners are able to identify actively and proactively identify investors, advisors, service and technology providers through the marketplace. And also through the virtual data room function, the project owners can also efficiently financially share data, for example, with interested financiers through the marketplace. Financiers, on the other hand, obviously can originate deals, build project pipelines by using the marketplace. They can also identify, for example, project development support for projects they are interested in. There are, for example, grant facilities, project preparation facilities registered in the marketplace, and also, of course, identify co-investors for their projects. On top of that, the marketplace contains also a lot of relevant country information in these countries, and as I mentioned, those countries and regions are the developing countries in the world, currently Africa, Latin America, and Caribbean. Then also service and technology providers can register in the marketplace. Obviously for them, the main reason to do so would be to originate new customers, make themselves, their offerings visible in the marketplace. They can also identify partners for project development, for example, other advisors, other service providers, other technology providers, and also the country data provided through the marketplace is beneficial for the users, service and technology provider users. Finally, although the host countries are not explicit the market register in the marketplace, they also can actively promote their project portfolios and also promote enabling investment environments, for example, regulations, incentives they have in place. The core of the whole concept is an online portal, which Alberto will show a bit later. The users, which I mentioned, project owners, financing entities, service and technology providers, can register in the system by entering information on themselves in a structured format. I'm sure you have all used the databases for other purposes earlier. For example, if you have sold or bought a car or an apartment, you have probably used an online platform to do so. So basically, a bit simplified, this is the same. This is only for project market. Project owners can register as entities, and then under countries, financing entities can register on their financing instruments that they offer in these regions for these project types, and same for service and technology providers. After you have a larger number of users registered, then the efficient search functions will enable efficient search to find developers, finding investors, funding sources, investors identifying suitable projects, and so on. For example, see the project search function. An investor looking for projects, for example, solar PV projects in feasibility or financing stage, can just simply select these search criteria, and then the system will show projects that meet these search criteria. There are a number of different search criteria. I think tending to look for different types of projects in the marketplace. So now the system will list only the search criteria. So here is the list that you would see then. Then from here you can screen different projects, and if you as an investor, for example, find some, you can either look at the project owner of the project, or you can just click on the name of the project and you will be directed to the project profile. So behind this database, for each project in the system, there is a specific project profile available for the project. So you could call this an online teaser. It includes basic information, project, etc., and give you information whether you want to get more information or no. If you are interested in more detail, you can then contact easily the project owners in the system. So that's the first value-added component, as I mentioned, the increased transparency of the market, efficient search engine. Secondly, and as I mentioned, Alberto Bernardini will shortly show it online. Secondly, as I mentioned, the portal provides you with tools and databases. Currently, we share only IRENA databases, but we are also in process of sharing third-party information in the marketplace. So currently, we offer a resource, which is IRENA's renewable energy database, probably the most comprehensive renewable energy information database in the world. We offer Global Atlas. You see on the top right-hand side of the slide, it's a GIS-based, map-based tool, a multi-layer tool where project developers can, for example, identify suitable sites, so investors can look for example, we use this data as to support the information provided by project developers. For example, see where are the highest resources in a specific country, solar, so biomass resources in some countries, so these countries, already protected areas, etc. So tool to identify suitable sites for project development. Thirdly, we offer policies and measures database, which IRENA maintains together with IEA. And fourthly, we offer, which is a tool that project developers can use to develop the information tools and templates that project developers can use to create higher quality projects and higher quality project documentation. Finally, thirdly, and as I mentioned, perhaps most importantly, the marketplace aims to offer concrete help projects and investors and so on to make progress with the projects. Here we cooperate with a number of organizations. Currently, the Africa, which is our partner today in this webinar, we signed an MOU with Power Africa at COP21 in Paris in December. Shortly describe in more detail how we cooperate with them. We cooperate also with IDB in Latin America and Caribbean. For example, with them we have currently a call for proposals. It's not open anymore. It closed early March. A call for proposals for project development is in process of distributors for project developers in their region to fund basically project development activities, hiring advisors and other service providers to make progress with project developers. We also signed a private finance advisory network of financial advisors who are and have good track record in helping projects in project development and also raising finance for projects. Together with them, we have identified project pipelines in these regions and are now in process of evaluating, analyzing the projects in more detail, and then support and facilitation for these projects to become bankable and then later on to be offered for investors. So we really think that the marketplace as such improves the transparency, is helpful for project developers and investors, but it will not do the trick alone. So we really believe that this kind of facilitation support for developers is needed in order to make it a live and an active marketplace for the users. I won't talk more about the facilitation. We will have a good case example of Power Africa shortly explained. To finish my presentation about the current user volumes and way forward, we have almost 200 registered users. We have almost 150 projects at the moment, almost 60 in Africa. We have 64 financing instruments registered already in the marketplace looking for projects, renewable energy and energy efficiency projects. The combined investment need of these 144 projects, US dollar, 34 bioenergy, 21 projects, and the number is increasing, I would say, on a weekly basis. So you can find the marketplace in this URL address, irena.org/marketplace, and you can register basically whenever you like during the webinar. So this is the concept of the marketplace. I thank you for listening. Now Alberto Bernardini will give you online presentation. Katrina from USA, Power Africa, describe the Power Africa initiative and how that is linked to the market and Power Africa cooperate. So thank you for listening, and I hand over to Katrina.
Great, thank you, Alexei. Good afternoon, Ms. Katrina Pielli. I'm a Senior Energy Advisor with Power Africa and the lead. I'm here today to speak to you briefly around the Sustainable Energy Marketplace and our tracking tool of renewable energy capacity in sub-Saharan Africa. So the opportunity, people don't have electricity in sub-Saharan Africa, and only 8 of Africa's 49 countries have an access rate over 60%. And as you all know, renewable energy is a key to overcoming this barrier and taking advantage of the opportunity. I'd like to take a moment just to tell you about Power Africa, our opportunity engagement with Power Africa is a specific partnership approach that looks to link public and private sector goals and resources to connect investors and entrepreneurs to increase the amount of opportunity that is taken advantage of in Africa. So specifically, what you bring together these key entities with a result of achieving our goals. We have very ambitious goals. Those are to achieve 30,000 new megawatts of power generation and 60 million new household and business connections by 2030. As you all know, those are very ambitious, and the way that we're going to do that is through partnerships. We have over 20 private committed over $31 billion worth of power project development. This is in addition to the 12 U.S. government agencies that are part of Power Africa. The logos you see here are just some of the more recognizable partners, but certainly not the short list by any means. Within the U.S. government, we have agencies like the Overseas Private Investment Trade and Development Agency, the U.S. African Development Foundation, and others. In addition to our private sector partners and U.S. government agencies, we have 10 partnerships with development partners and strategic partners. This is just a quick summary. I won't cover all of them in the interest of time, but hopefully this does give you a sense of the magnitude of partnership and how important it is to us. Probably most important on is the link to IRENA. As Alexi mentioned, we did sign a MOU with IRENA at COP21 in Paris in December. And again, the purpose is to further renewable energy growth in sub-Saharan Africa. The way that we're looking to do that is around the use of IRENA's Sustainable Energy Marketplace and Power Africa's tracking tool, or PAT. This is in addition to the commitments from the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the EU, the government of Sweden, UK, Norway, SE for All, NEPAD, and most recently Canada. I'd like to take a moment and give you a sense of the roadmap because that directly leads into our Power Africa tracking tool. The roadmap is something that was released that is meant to provide a guidepost about how we expect to achieve our goals. And we is again through partnership. So what this graphic shows you is how we go about doing that. The left-hand side demonstrates the opportunity to achieve our 30,000 megawatt goal, which does include a mix of clean fossil fuels and renewable energy. On the right-hand side, shows how we'll go about achieving the 60 million new connections, mostly through solar home systems, through microgrids and mini-grids, and through scaling our grid rollout. The way that we expect to achieve those goals, again through partnership, is relying on our toolbox. And what I'd like to mention here is that we have 5 key categories of tools: transaction assistance, finance, enabling environment, capacity building, and legal assistance. What's most relevant for our partnership with IRENA around the marketplace are transaction assistance and finance, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But the right-hand box here just illustrates a sampling of the type of tools that we bring to the table as the Power Africa initiative, including grants, technical assistance, working capital loans, reverse trade missions, feasibility studies, etc. As we move into talking about the Power Africa tracking tool, it's important to note that if you don't have this downloaded on your smartphone now, you can do that during the course of this webinar. This is an online database of the transactions that we as Power Africa are tracking. It's completely free and it provides you real-time information. Right now we have 2 transactions laying just over 27,000 megawatts. Again, this is updated real time. The PAT is really at the heart of our transaction-focused approach. It does change, so the other thing to realize is that as our partners report information to us, it is updated. The reason this is important is it aligns nicely with Marketplace around transparency and visibility. We think this is key to provide that information to interested stakeholders so that you can directly engage with your financier partners or other partners that are needed to further that project. And then finally, if you're looking to enter a new market or you're looking to understand policy or an enabling environment, this can also help you scope out that information as well. So you can get this now on your iPhone, and we're developing an Android version shortly. This is just a, so when you click on a specific country, this is what you'll see. It provides transaction level data including the description, the total project cost, the estimated financial close, and this should give you enough information to get a sense of what's going on in that country as well as details about a specific transaction. Now we're actively working with IRENA on IT integration to provide further value to our partners around PAT, and we will be looking forward to engaging directly with our partners on this going forward. So this slide just shows you a snapshot of Malawi. Now specifically as we think about how to work with IRENA, again, you heard Alexi mention the importance of project facilitation between investors and project developers or sponsors. We see that as incredibly important, and those connection opportunities can be done through an IT linkage between PAT and Marketplace. In addition, that toolbox that I mentioned, which you can download now, and feel free to contact me offline to speak more about that, can provide that proactive engagement and that is really a part of our tools. So in addition to, as you'll see in a moment with the walkthrough of the Marketplace, allowing investors to actually be alerted when their interest criteria is added, we're looking to partner with IRENA and the other partners that Alexi mentioned to make sure that the entire Power Africa toolbox is leveraged, from technical assistance with our U.S. government agencies, our donor partners, also through our network of transaction advisors who are on-the-ground experts throughout the continent. And the idea here is really to make sure that all of the relevant developers and investors and sponsors know that this opportunity exists to be able to, again, proactively engage and hopefully accelerate the project development process. So please, if you're not familiar with Power Africa, to look around on the website, reach out if you have any comments or questions. And I think at this point, what I'd like to do is turn it over to Alberto Bernardini, who will actually give you the online demonstration of the Sustainable Energy Marketplace. So Alberto?
Okay, thank you, Katrina, for your excellent presentations. So for those of you who have never logged in on the Marketplace, in order to go on the Marketplace, you can go either on www.irena.org/marketplace or marketplace.irena.org. Once you log in on the Marketplace, you will see a Google map with all the projects that are currently registered on the Marketplace. The Marketplace is currently divided in three markets, which represent three different regions: Caribbean, Latin America, and Africa. But later on this year, we're planning to integrate the platform into these three portals into a single marketplace. So right now, we're just going to log in one of the three portals just to show how it works and how to register. So let's go on Africa just by clicking on Access to Africa. Once you access one of the regional portals, you will see that all three regional portals have pretty much the same structure. In the middle, you have the map of the continent with the location of the projects. And on the side of the map, you have the general information on the projects that are registered on the Marketplace. Currently, we have 58 projects in the Marketplace in Africa for a total of 853 megawatts, which is the combined capacity of project in the Marketplace and only power generation projects. And we have a total of 2.2 billion. We have the navigation panel where you can find general information on IRENA and on the Marketplace. And you also have these two tabs, which is one is the Marketplace tab, where we have search functions, but they're available to you only once you register into the Marketplace, and also the user profile, which allows you to log in into your user once you're registered. Below this panel, you have the latest projects that have just registered on the Marketplace. You have some general information. You cannot look at the projects right away. Once you have registered, you can look at the full profiles. To the right, you have a new section that gathers information from 70 different magazines on renewable energy, and on each portal they gather information that regarding Africa and renewable energy. Below you have an event calendar with the most prominent events also related to Africa. And finally, here below you have the project navigator, which is, as Alexi mentioned, offers tools, templates, and information to help project developers in developing bankable projects. So before showing you how to register, I just wanted to show you also that there is a help button on the top right corner, which by clicking on that button, you will have access to a user manual which shows you how the marketplace works. Now let me show you how to register on a marketplace. Well, register on a marketplace, you just have to click on new user. And you will have access this page where you will create an account on the marketplace. So you just have to type down the organization name, let's say you have to choose a type of organization. So since most of you are going to be investors, choose financing entity. And you have a list of very different type of investors. But you can also choose to register as one or more users. Then you have to create a username. So let's just create one for you right now. And put down an email. Finally, agree to the terms and condition and send. Okay, so once you have created an account, you will move to the company or entity profile information, and you will have to fill in some information, which some of them are mandatory and some of them are optional, and they're differentiated by this asterisk next to the field. So let's go and fill out the fields. Here we have also the requirement for a passport copy and a business license, but I would like to ask you to not really bother about this this requirement, because this requirement will be deleted shortly. So therefore, just upload a blank document since it's still mandatory. I'm just going to go ahead and upload a document for you. And do the same for the business license. And finally, you keep going and fill out number, street address, city, and country. Then you have a contact person, and you have to fill it. It's a mandatory section, but you can choose to make it confidential or not just by clicking on this tick box. And then just keep going and filling in. Okay, and once this is done, then you have the general description. In this section, you have to describe what your entity does, what are your core activities, what is your structure and ownership, your history, strategy, and you also have these help boxes next to the section which can help you filling in this section. And usually we expect each user to fill in at least 250 words. And finally, you have the facilitation needs, which is usually this is a section where each entity can indicate if they need any type of support to IRENA, and it is only visible to IRENA. Finally, you can also upload a brochure on your entity. So once everything is filled, you just go on the top right corner and click on Save. So now you have your entity information filled in, but in order to complete the registration, you have to also register your financial instruments. So there is a financing instrument tab, so this will open up once you filled in the information on your entity. So you just click on the tab and click on Add Instruments. And here you will have a form that you will have to fill in that will, where we ask all types of information regarding your financing instruments. You have to write down a name for your financing instrument, and all the information that you've put in allow then the project owners to find your financial instrument. Then we ask what type of instrument types you have, so you can either register a different instrument through one profile or create a different financial instrument depending on the characteristics of your financial instrument. So in this case, we'll have, for example, 2 equity. Your eligible beneficiaries, and again, you have a list here you can choose from. Your eligible project types, so what type of technology is your financial instrument directed to. Eligible phases, so if it's for project development, construction, or operation. Finally, if you want, you can still add a contact person for that specific financial instrument. And here we have some different parameters that are optional, but which indicate what type of investment criteria you're following, so which project size, which investment size, what type of commitment you aim to have on projects. And finally, you have also here a general description of your financial instruments, where we expect you to describe the characteristics of your financial instrument, what are the eligibility criteria, and how can project owners try to obtain this financing. And again, here this is mandatory, so I will just write down something. And here again, we have the same type of field for the profile form, where we ask if you need any type of support for your financing instrument. And if you want, you can also add a brochure that financial instrument. Finally, once everything is filled in, again, you save. So now your financial instrument form is complete. You will go back to your original a profile page by clicking on the name of the organization. And you will submit your profile for approval by clicking Submit for Approval on the top right corner of the page. We'll receive the request from you that you would like to register on the marketplace, and we'll go through your profile, review it, and approve your profile. Once you have approved your profile, be able to log in again on your profile through the username and password you will receive once you have created the account. And now I will show you how the marketplace looks like when you're registered. So once you have registered, you will see that search functions are enabled, and we have different search functions. We have a general search that basically like any search engine like Google, and you can type any keywords and you show any results that that apply to the keywords you have used. Then we have the project search. Once you open your project search, you will see that all projects will be listed, but you can also, of course screen the projects by using the filters Alexi has shown you before by clicking here, see more filters, and you can modify these parameters in order to find the projects you're most interested in. So for example, project technologies, we can look for solar PV, click on apply, choose some countries that are relevant to you. And of course there are all of these other criteria, and you will see that the list below is getting shorter and shorter. And then go look into the profile of these projects. You can either click on the project owner name to look at the profile of the entity, or you just can click directly on a project to look on a project name to look into the project profile. So let's go. And as you will see, you will have all the information on this project. You have the capacity, the total investment, the annual generation, what type of project it is, the project ownership, so if it's private, public, or a PPP. And finally, you have all these processes regarding project development, land acquisition, permits, feasibility studies, agreements, and financing processes, and there's indication at which stage these processes are. Then we have also the expected start of construction, expected start of operation, contact information, and then we also have some financial numbers. We have the financing plan, so how this project is planned to be financed. We have the available financing. They already have financing currently sought, so what type of financing they're currently looking for, and the services currently sought. And here there's a project level facilitation visible only to IRENA, which shows which shows that a specific request that IRENA does, or what that project is currently looking for. And finally, we have the project summary that is divided in different sections: the project objective and structure, location, the offtake, grid connection, socioeconomic and environmental impacts, current situation, and plan activities. And you also have the location of the project on the map, and you can of course zoom in and look more precisely where this project is located. Then we also have the financing instruments search, which I can show you in order to make you understand how projects will look for financial instruments. It works with the finance. So you have all these different types of criteria, and you can look them from eligible instrument types, what type of financial instrument they're looking for, which project types these financial instruments apply, eligible countries, eligible beneficiaries, eligible phases, and the name of the. Then we have other search functions. We have the service providers, the technology supplier search, and the organization search. Organization search allows the users to look for all different types of organizations that are registered within the marketplace. And finally, we have the country search. So let me go straight and go and show you the country search. So we have a list of countries. We can choose one right now. For example, Kenya. And here we have a panel with all the tools and databases that IRENA is currently available, and which Alexia has mentioned to you before. We have a resource, comprehensive database. This gives you information and statistics on a number of different aspects such as capacity, finance, costs, employment, and more. You can go and play around a bit with it. Here you have, for example, you can change some of the parameters. And you can always look here, resource country profile, which will give you, which will open to the resource page, and will give you all the information IRENA has, all reports that IRENA has on the country. Which is again is a renewable energy mapping platform containing maps and information regarding infrastructures and renewable energy sources. And here we have the IEA IRENA policies and measures database, which give you regulatory frameworks and policies related to that specific country. You can click here and show you, for example. And below this panel, you will find all the projects that are based in Kenya. So this is pretty much it for the marketplace. I want to thank you for listening, and I will now hand it over to Alexi Lumiarvi that will open the Q&A session.
All right, thank you, Alberto, for the online demo. During the webinar, you have been able to send questions, and you still can send questions if you like. I have picked up some of the, let's say, most frequent questions we face when it comes to the marketplace, and provide the answers to them. After the webinar, by the way, you will get all these the material Q's and A's by email. But I would like to address a few questions presented. First, running the marketplace. No, there is free of charge. Anyone can join for free. Just that the user fulfills the criteria of joining. So it has to be a project owner, investor, service or technology provider. That's it. Secondly, the marketplace currently covers Africa and Latin America. How about other countries and regions? So as Alberto mentioned, we are in process of expanding to to Asia. So the main objective of this marketplace is to cover the developing world. So after Asia, we are covering all the developing countries in the world, and that's probably where we will stop for now. And we are already implementing the Asia platform, and we hope that it could be available around the year end or early next year. Thirdly, project types. What kind of projects can enter and register in the marketplace? So currently, we don't restrict the projects in any other way. They have to be renewable energy projects or energy efficiency projects, but they can be whatever type. The main point is that they have to be generating energy in some form, either power, heat, or fuels. But basically, it can be anything from grid-connected wind or solar to, let's say, production facilities and energy efficiency during the summertime when we will implement the energy efficiency component of the system. Regarding the project sizes as well, we have all sizes of projects. The biggest ones we have are in tune of hundreds of megawatts wind power, for example, whereas the smallest ones I think are roughly $200,000, very small distributed standalone projects, for example solar or bioenergy projects. So all sizes are eligible to join the marketplace. Fourthly, so how IRENA can help and IRENA's partners can help investors in the marketplace. So I would just advise in general, if you look for projects in the marketplace, if you find something of a particular interest for you, you just contact IRENA. You can do that through the marketplace. There is a messaging system which you can use to send messages to IRENA regarding specific projects or other things you want to contact IRENA. So so that you can just indicate if you find, for example, an interesting project which, for example, needs specific support, or if you need more information on the project, etc. So then IRENA can allocate its resources to help, for example, projects that are receiving most interest from investor side. And then we connect with our partners such as Power Africa to see how we can basically contact, get more information, and perhaps even find some hands-on support, advisory or other support for the projects. How are the projects registered in the system? There is a specific question on how does the quality assurance work, etc. So in principle, the project owners or investors or whoever registers in the marketplace is responsible for the information by themselves. So if a project developer registers a project in the marketplace, the information is entered by the project developers by them. They are responsible basically for the information. Project, any investor or anyone is approved and registered in the marketplace and can be visible in the marketplace. IRENA will pre-screen all the projects, and quite typically, I would say always, when we have a new project, there will be a consultation session with the project developers to all the numbers right and to specify information that they submit. So we always have a bilateral consultation with project developers before we approve them. So they will benefit for this kind of pre-screening and consultation process before getting in to the marketplace. Then there is a question of what kind of investors can register and join the marketplace. Basically, any kind of investor. The main thing is if you have money to invest, or if you can have money to support projects, then you can join the marketplace. So basically, anyone starting from donor countries having, for example, project preparation grant facilities can join. international financing institutions can join and have joined. Bilateral development financing institutions can join. But then, of course, also private sector investors and financiers like private equity funds, other private equity investors, commercial banks can join. There will be a slot for any types of financing entities when you go and register. Can the platform support technology startup companies like wind turbine companies, etc.? So wind turbine companies and other technology startups are not able to register and look for funding through the marketplace, but of course they can register as technology, offer their technologies through the marketplace. But for technology company fundraising, there are other technology company fundraising platform. They have the projects that will be registered. They need to be some form of energy generation projects, like wind power projects, as I said, for example, biofuel projects or other similar projects generating some type of energy. Then can this platform, this is the last one, can this platform help different types of financiers connect with one another? For example, debt providers and equity providers. Yes, this is definitely one thing the platform. So already now investors can register and identify co-financiers. You can identify equity or debt financiers or other equity investors to join you in the financing consortium, etc. And of course, a specific project, for example, you're interested in and ready to invest in, you can ask, but you need additional funding sources. You can, whenever, contact IRENA also and indicate your interest for a specific project and the need for identifying a cost or more co-investors in financing consortium. I think this is it for now. There are more questions, but I think we have to wrap up. As I mentioned, we will send you the recording of the webinar through email, and at the same time we will send a full list of questions and answers. So if your question was not answered during this Q&A session, don't worry, it will be answered and in written form afterwards. So that's it for now. And sorry, excuse me. So this is time to wrap up. So thank you for listening, joining us for this webinar today, and we hope that many of you will register in the marketplace, use it actively, and we wish you a good day. Thank you.